Hey guys, get ready with me while I tell you a scary res story. So, I've been working at a casino on the reservation, and a few crazy things have happened. At first, it was just small things that I thought I was just crazy initially, but then, more stuff started happening, and I was like, this can't just be like me. So, the first few things would be like, I would be in the bathroom, and the water faucet would turn on, just slowly, but still it would turn on. Or the door of the stall next to me, you could hear it slowly just creaking open or closed. There's also a little supply closet in the bathroom, and sometimes that door would open by itself. So I thought maybe it could be the hinges were weird or something, I don't know. So I work in a bank, so I have 2 secured doors that I have to go through to get into it. And one night, there's the first door you go into, so there's a hallway, and then our door's to the left, and you have to use your key to get in. And then once you get in the first door, there's another little room with an office to the side, and then you go through the next door to get into the actual bank part. So a lot of nights it was just me and one other person working, but sometimes there were 2 people. So one night I walked into our little hallway room after going through the first door, and a bottle of Jergens lotion flew out from the office into the little area I was standing in right before I got to the door. So me and my coworker were the only ones working that night, so I knew it had to be her. So I was like, ha, very funny. So I pick up the bottle and I go into the office and nobody's in there. So I'd only been there for 3 months, and the stuff wasn't happening that often initially, but after I'd been there for longer, it started happening every time I was on shift. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm crazy, so obviously I'm not saying anything to anybody about it, because I was still kind of new, obviously, and I didn't want to sound weird. But one night, me and my coworker are sitting in there's a front part and a back part of our room, and we're sitting in the front because that's where we worked, and there would be people that come in the back sometimes to do whatever they're doing. And this one night we're sitting there and we hear the door open into the back, and people are talking to each other. So the voice that we could hear that was talking was a girl, and there's just not very many girls that work there, so we both turned around to see who it was, and legitimately nobody was there. I think we generally go by the rules that everybody else does, which is if you think you heard something, no you didn't. So we just kind of turned around and ignored it. So the people that walk on the floor of the casino, they have little devices that notify them if somebody's gotten a jackpot, so they can go over and verify that it's a jackpot and pay him out. So one of the guys is standing there and he's talking to me, and his little device goes off and shows him that somebody got a jackpot. So he shows me, and it's a huge jackpot, $27,000. So he shows me his little device that shows the jackpot, and I was like, wow, that's a lot of money. And he was like, yeah, that's crazy. So he leaves to go check it out, and 5 minutes later he comes back and he's like, there was nobody there. And I was like, what do you mean? They left? Who would just leave a jackpot? And it's not you can't know that you won a jackpot. It's a huge deal, and the machine goes crazy. You can hear it across the casino. So he hadn't been working there that long either, but he ended up being told that this is something that happens often. Machines will hit jackpots and nobody will be there. Can you imagine how lucky you'd have to be to not only win a jackpot in the first place when you're actually playing the machine, but to just so happen upon a machine that was hitting a jackpot with no one sitting there? That'd be crazy. So one night this guy got super curious as to how the machines were hitting jackpots by themselves. So he's like, I'm gonna go up to the surveillance cameras and look, because he got another one. So he comes back and he's like, you're not gonna believe this. I'm like, okay, tell me anyway. So he's like, I went up and I checked the security cameras for this jackpot that went off. He's like, they showed me the machine and they showed me some lady sitting there, and I was like, well, zoom in on her face, maybe we can find her, maybe she's still in the casino, maybe she didn't realize, because she looked like an older woman from far away. She like had her hair like partially covered with like a scarf. She was wearing like a shawl. And he said, so they zoom in on her face, and the cameras are really good cameras in the casino. This is like, you know, casino, super important to have really good cameras. Cannot see the bottom of her face. It was like warped or like distorted. Can't see it. So he's already freaked out. And he's like, well, let's just follow her and see where she goes, because like maybe she didn't realize she hit a jackpot because she's older and we can tell her. More so, they were just curious, because that's not really what they do. Like, if somebody hits a jackpot and they're not there, then it just didn't happen. So anyway, they're looking at the cameras and they follow her, and she goes into the bathroom. So they like skip ahead on the cameras, and like one of the surveillance officer is like watching to see if she comes out, and they get to like the time where it's like current, and she never came out of the bathroom. So they send one of the security officers, one of the girls, in there, and she's like, there's nobody in here. But there was no way for her to have gotten out, so she just disappeared. So one night I'm sitting there, and like we can see everybody that's in the casino and like what they're doing and stuff. So a lot of people like to touch their machines, like rub money on them. Some of them bring like rocks and like put them on the machine. They do a bunch of weird things. But anyway, there's these two women, and they're sitting at a machine, and I can see them playing, and they keep like rubbing their machine, but it looks like they're like doing something very intentional. Like a lot of people just rub all over it, but they were doing something very intentional. So the lady finally comes up to me because they needed to cash out their money, and I get curious and I ask her like, oh, it looks like you're drawing something on your machine. Like, what is it? She proceeds to tell me that it is a pentagram. I was just like, what? So a lot of things kind of came full circle for me at that point, because I was like, oh, it makes sense. Like, you know, like some of these people are tapping into that spiritual side of things. And I'm sure that it makes a lot of things go crazy at that site, like that place. So the craziest and most scariest thing that happened actually happened like 2 nights ago. So I went to the convenience store because they said they had snacks and they were like free. Like they're the ones that are going to expire soon, so they're trying to get rid of them. So I go in there and the girl's like, hey, just take all the snacks to the break room so that everybody can have some. And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm carrying this huge basket of snacks, right? And I set them on the table in the back room. And the guy that said he saw the lady with the face that was all distorted, he comes in, he's like, hey, are those snacks for free, or like what's up? And I was like, oh yeah, they're free, you can take however many you want, like they're just trying to get rid of them. He's like, okay, cool, thanks for letting me know, whatever. We talk a little bit, cool. I leave, right? I leave the room and I start walking down the hall to take the basket back to the convenience store. Tell me why. The guy I just talked to walks in through the doors that I'm about to go out of. There's no way for him to have been in the room we were just in and walking through those doors back towards me. It's not possible. And he stops me and he's like, hey, why do you have that basket? And I'm like, there's snacks in the back. And it was like the same conversation we just had in that room replayed over again in the hallway. So I walked back with him into that room because I was like, I have to be losing my mind right now, because he was in the room and no one's in the room. It's an empty room. I'm sorry this video was so long. If you found it interesting, or you like my makeup or whatever, you're into this kind of creepy, crazy, horror, spooky stuff, or reservation native things, follow me and I should be posting more often.